Welcome back to the In Between Overs podcast. We're your host for today's play. I'm Tarad.
And I'm Ishan.
Don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe to the channel.
So India and New Zealand play their fourth T20I. India winning the toss but losing the game. The first loss in the T20I series against India. Series is now 3-1 and still in favor of India. They won this series, but this was a fairly impressive win by the Kiwis. India's batting, didn't look too well. Their bowlers got taken out. I think overall, New Zealand must be very impressed by their performance.
Great fight back by New Zealand. Finally came through a couple matches too late, but nevertheless, good preparation for them for the World Cup coming up. I'm surprised they didn't make any changes to the lineup. I guess they feel this is their best 11. They have made changes to the bowling lineup, uh, but that was surprising to see. However, what was even more surprising to see was the changes made by India. I didn't know Ishan Kishan had a niggle, and then it turns out he did, and so he was left out of the team. I thought it was an easy swap for Shreyas Iyer coming in, but India decided to play with six batters and five bowlers. Harshit Rana is a bowling all-rounder, so he's still a out-and-out bowler in my eyes who can hit the ball. So it was interesting tactics from India. I would have thought they would have stuck with the same template, but clearly it had an impact for them on this game being a batter short.
Yeah, no, 100%. Being a batter short definitely, they allow the flexibility with the ball, and you kind of saw that as well with Harsharana going with 13.5 clicks. So he obviously getting pumped a little bit. But yeah, and then you obviously had like we'll talk about the batting changes as well, but you had some interesting players coming in. Number three, for instance, some very interesting selections from a batting perspective as well. But yeah, I think overall India maybe just took it lightly. They'd won this series. New Zealand also, they wanted to get into form before the World Cup. So, it's great to see that some players stood out for New Zealand.
Yeah, let's start with the New Zealand innings. Got off to a fantastic start, put up a 100-run partnership between Devon Conway and Seifert. They stuck with Conway. He repaid the fate, struck at a rate of 191, which is really good for him, who is an all-format player. He does play Test cricket, is more of a conventional player, but was able to strike it at a good clip and kept good company with Seifert, who have always felt is a danger batter at the top of the order, no matter which team he plays on, and he came to the fore as well, 62, 36 balls. And in India, we're looking in trouble at 100, at New Zealand being 100 for one in not even 10 overs in. They were only 8 overs in. But then India with a bit of a fight back in the middle there, where we had the bowlers, specifically Kuldeep Yadav, chip in with a few wickets and was able to curtail the run scoring for the next five-ish overs.
Yeah, no, I just want to echo that. Like, great start from New Zealand. Um, but yeah, it seemed like they needed that start because they didn't get that in the first few games against India.
Yeah, they definitely needed that start, and that allowed them to build off of that. Although I felt once again New Zealand was short. I felt New Zealand should have scored at least 230 plus 235 given the start they got. So they were maybe not 30 40 runs short like game two or three. I would say they were maybe 15 20 runs short, given the start they had, right? And so kudos to India for putting on a fight back. And at 6 for 163 in the 17th over, I had a feeling India had a good shot of keeping New Zealand under 200. But then we saw the tactic of keeping Daryl Mitchell at six, paying off for New Zealand. And maybe this is what they're protecting against, where you have someone with very capable batting abilities in the lower order be able to get those extra runs when it may not look like they finish strong at the end.
Yes, yes. And to your point, I think that's what accelerated them towards that big score. And we always talk about momentum as well. If you have a player like Daryl Mitchell batting near the end at over 200 for strike rate, you carry that momentum with you into the dressing room as well. Because obviously, some of the bowlers are getting pumped. But to your point, yeah, obviously there were some batters who were not, I would say, uh, reflective in the total. Like they didn't make enough runs. Rachin Ravindra has had a pretty light series as well. Nice to see Mitch Santner there. He was destructive, but again, a good run up by Hardik Pandya. But I think you're right. They were definitely short, but that innings by Daryl Mitchell definitely allowed them to carry some momentum forward.
I think there's a lot of pressure on Mark Chapman. He hasn't done much this whole series, and I feel Game 5, if he does play, is a final chance for him to put something on the board. Otherwise, they seriously have to look at someone else coming in that middle lower order. Maybe they push up Daryl Mitchell up to 5 if if they really feel their top 4 is set with the 4 that they're playing right now. Maybe push Daryl Mitchell up to 5 so he plays those extra 8 balls Chapman scored 9 off, maybe Daryl Mitchell gives you double that, or maybe 20 runs off that 8, and now you're talking an even bigger target. Yeah, we understand he can get out as well, but we're just talking about between two players, who's in better form, who's in better nick, who would you rather have face more balls, right? So I feel Mitchell should be batting in the top 5, regardless of his performance here as a finisher.
Yeah, again, hey, I do. I think you made that comment last game as well. You want your best players making those. Sorry, you want your best players facing the most balls. And to your point, maybe again, this series is right before the World Cup. They're gonna be malleable. They're gonna be flexible in their batting lineup. And New Zealand, they're never really shy of that as well. So, I think as much as they lost this series, there's lots of things to work on for the World Cup.
Touching on India's bowling, anything to speak of here? It felt like they maybe just uh, went through the motions and they tried to fight back, and they did a fairly decent job of keeping using to 215 when again it looked like 230, 240, 250 was on the cards at one stage. um Harshit Rana not having the best day. Jasprit Bumrah, one of those rare occasions where he went for nearly 9, 10 and over. Arshdeep Singh was decent, and then the spinners didn't really have the same impact in terms of either curtailing the runs or taking wickets consistently, except for that middle period.
Yeah, I think India learned two things from a bowling perspective. One, you need Arshdeep Singh in the T20 setup for sure. I think him getting wickets at the top of the order is super important. Even in this game, uh, Langford had a chance in the first over against Arshdeep Singh. It was a hard chance, but Arshdeep Singh was able to extract a chance in the first over again. So you need him in the T20 setup for sure. And then also, I think India needs spinning. Sorry, I think India's spinners need to get wickets in order for India to have a successful World Cup. You see that sometimes Indian fast bowlers are getting under the pump, and you need the spinners to be able to, get those wickets. Um, you know, so Ravi Bishnoi, was a little expensive today. Did not get the series he wanted, but I definitely think Indian spinners need to be, focused on for the World Cup.
Yeah, he's played 2 games, and he did 2 or 3 games. I don't remember, but he has played well in the previous games, especially that one game where he took 3 wickets for nothing in his 4 overs. And I feel that he is obviously the third, fourth choice spinner, so he's only playing because of the injuries to Akshar, and Washi. And as soon as those guys get fit, I feel Ravi Bishnoi sits out, even if he does play well, just because, and keep in mind Varun's there as well. So I don't see Ravi Bishnoi playing if those guys are fit and ready to go, especially because India also needs a batter, and that's a great segue to talk about India's batting. So first of all, Abhishek Sharma steps down the track, and he finally the laws of numbers catches up to him, and he gets out first ball.
Yeah, actually, what's really interesting was him actually taking the first ball because it seemed like his opening with Sanju Samson was always taking the first ball. So they changed it for this match, which was interesting to see for sure. But again, he went hard. Usually he does connect those, but to your point, you do regress to the mean. He did get out, but India should have been strong enough to get the total. We saw that in the previous games as well, but different batting lineup changes. You had obviously Sky coming in at 3 this time, and then you had Rinku Singh at 4. So interesting top 4 from Team India.
So I have something interesting to share here with regards to the batting lineup. Obviously, India were playing with 6 batters, so they were a batter short, and it felt like they were going to do something different with the lineup, but we didn't know what. it ended up being Rinku Singh coming at 4, who did pretty decent at 4. But again, he's a finisher, so I don't see the point of putting him up at 4 unless you're just trying to give him some game time, get some runs in the middle, get some confidence going. But I feel you should do that in a match situation of him playing as a finisher. And so what I felt India could have tried, and this is a left field thought coming from a cricket fan, is keeping the batters at the positions they were going to come in if Ishan Kishan played. Meaning, you would have to play. I would have played maybe a Harshit Rana at 3 as a pinch hitter, come in and just get as much as he can in the power play. So that way you lengthen the batting lineup, and now you have everyone coming in their same positions, and you don't have Sky coming in batting as an opener pretty much at number 3.
You know what? That's a very interesting take, and that is actually, I believe, what a couple of seasons ago Ravi Ashwin did when he was in the Delhi Capitals. And I think it's an interesting sort of perspective where you are utilizing a pinch hitter strictly for the power play, which in my eyes I don't think that's something to stay away from. You should be able to be that flexible. And I do see the purpose of that. Harshit Rana hits big. He hits hard. He just needs to be able to find a gap. And if he's able to get a quick 24 runs in the power play all by himself, why not? You protect Sky with the new ball or with the ball moving, and it does sort of allow India to get momentum forward. So that's a very good shout.
And another point I'll add to that idea is if you look at where India ended up once Shivam Dube got out, and we will touch on Shivam Dube's innings, but when he got out, India were 145 for 6 in the 15th over. He was able to bring India's target down to 70 off the last 5. In today's day and age, with the way T20 is played, 70 of the last 5, you are not writing the batting team off. One couple big overs, the batting team is in with a good shot, a good chance. However, you are now expecting Harshit Rana and Ravi Bishnoi to do that with the lineup India played. And so I felt, and Gavaskar said this on comms too, Harshit Rana has proven that he can handle the bat. He has proven that he can score good runs, quick runs, big hits. But to expect him to get 70 and 30 is a little unfair to him. And so putting him earlier where there's less pressure for him to get a certain score, where he's essentially playing with freedom at that point. Hey, if you can give us 25 of 12 or 30 or 15, we'll take that. But even if you get 5 of 4 or 5 of 2, that's fine too. Or if you get our first ball, that's fine too. Right? Rather than giving him pressure of being an out and out batter in a situation where India needs 70 of 30. If that was done, and let's say everything played out the way it did, and of course the what if scenario, but now you're talking 70 of 30 with Rinku Singh at the crease.
Yeah, no, Rinku Singh, and to your point, even you have Rinku Singh and just say you have a healthy Washington Sundar as well, right? You have those players there who are able to hit and get you those runs. And that's to your point, it allows a more balanced sort of tail end to bat. So no, I do agree with that, 100%. Obviously, from a middle order perspective, a little light. Obviously, we talked about Rinku Singh played really well from the position he was in. Obviously, he is a finisher. Hardik Pandya will get out for 2 for 5. That does happen. Shivam Dube, uh, what was that batting performance?
So this is the performances we've seen him do, especially in that yellow jersey, the CSK
Yeah,
jersey,
yeah.
a couple of seasons ago, where he was striking the ball so clean, and that's what ended up putting his name in the Indian team sheet. And he seems to have turned back the clock to that time because he was hitting the ball so clean, so far. He hit, I think, two or at least two sixes crossed the 100-meter mark. That's Chris Gale territory. It's very challenging to hit sixes past 100 meters, let alone do it multiple times in the same match. And he did it. He was doing it with ease. Let's also give him a shout out that he just got India's third fastest 50 as well, after Abhishek just got the second one in the last game. So he's pretty much saying, hey, everyone's talking about Abhishek Sharma, but don't forget about me.
And You're so right. What a great comparison to his days in Chennai. But no, it's he was in a different zone. I think I've never seen him bat that way in the Indian jersey. But it's good to see, because people are also. I feel like people sometimes get bored of Indian players. Shivam Dube has been such an instrumental part of the T20 setup that he sometimes gets overlooked. But for him to have these like exclamation point performances just gets people reminded of the fact that he's in the team for a reason. That for spinners, he's a nightmare, and when he's in the zone, he'll really take you deep. So it was great to see that performance, especially before the World Cup.
Yeah, it's definitely going to add to his confidence, and I think it was much needed because again, he didn't do much in this series. He scored runs, but nothing majorly significant. And this was a significant score because it seemed like he was going to single-handedly take India at least very, very close to winning this game. And he ended up getting out in unfortunate fashion, and we'll never know what could have happened of that innings. I know we were talking offline. I had the way he was going, it felt like he was going to bring India home and score 100 doing so. And we'll be talking about Shivam Dube being a lock. And I still feel he is, given his ability to bowl, chop out overs here and there. But yeah, it could have been a totally different story but for that run out, which is pretty much luck. And unfortunately, it wasn't on his side for that ball.
Yeah, no,
All
it would
right,
have been it would have been nice to see him finish the game. But yeah, unfortunately, he did get out.
a take that I wanted to discuss with you is India's again. They played six batters. We talked about Ishan Kishan being left out, and you'd think they'd put in a spare batter in. One side is India wanted to give the bowlers another run and see who those two seamers would be for India. Obviously, Bumrah is going to be one, but who's the other one going to be at least, and give Bishnoi some game time. So that's one side of things. This is another interesting side of things where the batter coming in would be Shreyas Iyer, and we know the relationship between Shreyas Iyer and Gigi. So has that played into anything? Is the question. Do we think that that could have had a reason for Shreyas Iyer not playing this game?
Yeah, I think it's an interesting idea, especially with the background that Shreyas Iyer has had. So I genuinely think with the heat that Gautam Gambhir has faced in the last few months, that heat has been alleviated by Kohli's inclusion into the ODI setup, right? Kohli's been able to be there, he's been able to perform, and it seems like it's been going okay. Now, if Shreyas Iyer is part of this T20 setup and they have a successful World Cup, I think that works in Gautam Gambhir's favor. It shows the public that he's able to put his private prejudices aside. I think it's better for his public image as well. Um, and I think you should always include players based on merit. And I definitely think Shreyas Iyer has definitely done a lot to be included in the T20 setup. Now, if it's based on combinations or batting order, I get it if he has to be excluded, but it shouldn't be based on how Gautam Gambhir fears about Shreyas Iyer.
Yeah, so that's one take that's circling social media. So I don't think it is either, but it's interesting to consider that that could be a reason. I hope it's not. I hope it's strictly this India experimenting things, which is fine. They won the series. They want to fine tune things before the World Cup. So hopefully that's the reason. The quick shout out before we end off the session here. New Zealand's bowling, really good performance by Mitchell Santner. I think he was a standout. His ability to alter his pace to get wickets has always been a standout in the last couple of years from him. I think he's been the most improved player for New Zealand in the last couple of years, especially in this format. He's obviously the captain as well now. Great performance by him, and I feel his 4 overs and 3 wickets was one of the reasons that helped New Zealand win this game.
Yeah, he was such a great player in the Champions Trophy, and he's been a very key player in this sort of setup, white ball setup for New Zealand. So it's great to see a player like him still be so relevant for an international squad.
Awesome. We look forward to the 50-20I, the final T20 before the World Cup, which is starting in a week's time. We are excited for it, and we look forward to the 50-20. Until then, that stumps.